Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Alex Avila with Love University, and we're back. I'm an author, psychologist, and speaker. Every week we talk about how to love ourselves, others, and a higher nature, how to improve our career, relationships, finances, health, and spirituality. And we've been having a great time with the Invincible You series, based on my book, Invincible You. Discover your inner power and achieve your heart's desires, in which we teach you how to be an invincible person. It doesn't mean that you're not going to fail or have problems in life, but you will surpass them. You'll be able to conquer obstacles, both inner and outer, by applying the principles we're talking about. So you will be, in a sense, a powerful and confident human being. During the last few weeks, we've been talking about the different weaknesses that we face in our minds, whether it's regret or anger. Today's weakness is called the fear weakness. Now, the fear weakness is the foundation for a lot of your other negativities. It keeps you in fear of losing out in life, making you suffer from disappointment, failure, rejection, and pain. It makes you fear unexpected financial expenses, failing in your career or relationships, being unnoticed or unloved, being cheated or deprived. The fear weakness is actually a part of many negative emotions. Loneliness is the fear of being alone. Depression is the fear of losing or having lost something important to you. Fear also manifests itself as tension and worry. One thing to recognize, however, is that the emotion of fear is different from the fear weakness. Fear by itself is an emotion that can have beneficial functions. It can warn you of danger and give you the chemical boost you need to fight or run, what we call the fight or flight response. Fear, in the right way, can protect you from doing hazardous things, such as touching a hot stove. The fear weakness, on the other hand, is an exaggerated and often unrealistic fear about bad things that may happen to you. In reality, many of these things never do happen, but you still have the fear that they will occur. And it keeps you in that anxiety, that worry, and that stress mentality. In fact, many people in society have a deeply rooted anxiety. They worry, what will happen to me tomorrow? They strain over future finances, relationships, and health. They hope their lives will improve or at least not worsen, but their hope is fearful. They sense their lack of control over the future. If you think about it, you will realize that the fear weakness is nothing more than an artificial accumulation of all the unrealistic and irrational fears that you have ever experienced in life. These include fears such as, I'm going to lose out. I'm not going to get what I want. And life or people will hurt me. The fear weakness's sole job is to torment you about things that usually have a small chance of occurring in reality. For example, you may have the fear of displeasing others, being helpless in the future, a weakness you can't control such as addictions, bad habits, and unproductive behaviors. You might have a fear of an absence of excitement, also known as boredom. Exposure of fakery, people finding out that you're not as good as they thought you were. Financial expenses that can't be handled. Sickness, old age, and death. Being unnoticed, unwanted, rejected, and unloved. Being cheated and left out of things. Being alone and lonely, never finding anyone to love. Inability to change yourself. The list of fear weaknesses goes on and on. Although they come in different varieties, these fear weaknesses mainly stem from the same roots. They are based on attachments to a fixed mental and emotional position. For example, you must be loved by a particular person. You must make X amount of money, and you must be liked and appreciated by a certain type of person. But by insisting that you must have something or someone in a certain way, you create the opposite possibility that you will not get what you want. This keeps you feeling nervous, tense, and fearful because you identify with whatever it is that you want. Now you build your self-esteem based on obtaining the prize or benefit or person. Then when you don't get what you want, or if you lose it, you will feel that you have lost an important part of yourself. And you often feel frustrated, disappointed, and sad. One of the biggest fears that people have is the fear of money loss, that you will lose money or not have enough of it. This fear is found in the poor individual as well as the so-called wealthy individual. A person may love money to the exclusion of everything else. And if you try to separate them from their money, they will become fearfully hostile. They will think, what would I be like without my money? If you tell them that their excessive emotional attachment to money actually makes them poor, they will respond with a thinly veiled anger, or maybe even a polite smile that hides their disagreeable and hostile opinion. Although money used rightly can be a great gift, everything depends on the mindset of the person holding the money. A person, whether rich or poor financially, with an enlightened mindset can enjoy their money because they recognize that their true inner worth does not depend on their outer net worth. They recognize that true wealth comes from their invincible mind. On the other hand, a person with a selfish and cheap mentality toward money is dominated by fear, the fear that they will lose their money, and in the process lose their self-worth. There are tightwads among both the rich and the poor. What they have in common is that they emotionally attach their value as a human being to how much money they have. Therefore, they base their ego on a shaky foundation that keeps them feeling nervous and fearful of losing what they already have. So how do you master the fear weakness? What we need to do is try a method that is powerful and that is able to reduce the fear weakness's power. Let's look at some examples. Method number 1 is to create a fear to reality journal. During your day, observe how many times your mind slips into fear of what tomorrow may bring. When you recognize the fear weakness, bring yourself to the present moment. Take a deep breath. Look around. and scan your surroundings. Realize that the fear weakness only exists in your imagination. Nothing bad has happened to you yet. You're still living in the present. You're okay right now. To bring more objectivity into your fears, create a fear to reality journal. Write down all the things that you're afraid of, and then check periodically to see if they have come true. You will find that a majority of your fears related to money, love, health, possessions, or career and business don't come true in the way you feared. You will see that fear can consume your present and prevent you from fully enjoying your future. The truth is that most of what you're worried about never comes true in the way you envisioned it. This realization will help liberate you from many of the fears that torment you on a daily basis. By keeping a journal and reality testing your fears like this, you will take the first step toward mastering the fear weakness. Soon you will get to the point where your worrying self no longer exists, or if it does, it is very faint and weak. Method number 2, ask the right questions. For example, ask yourself, what would I do if I had nothing to fear and nothing to lose? When you ask yourself this question, you immediately reverse the paradigm from fear to belief. You start to think of the things you can do, which is belief, instead of what you can't do, which is fear. You immediately focus on the new relationships, career choices, and lifestyle changes that you would like to achieve. You have more energy and motivation to accomplish your goals and desires. Another quick question to ask is, who is living your life? If the desert of weakness is living your life for you, you will continue to suffer from the fear weakness. On the other hand, if the mountain of invincibility is representing your mind, you will realize that you are not your fear weakness. You are something much higher and more powerful. You are a person with personal power who can conquer your problems despite fear and negativity. And finally, method number 3, take action despite the thought. In this case, you will take action while still having the fear thoughts inside your mind. When you feel overwhelmed and paralyzed with fear, for example, I will look foolish, I will be rejected, I will fail, decide that you will do what you need to do despite your anxiety. You will talk to that attractive person. Go for the career you really want. Make the financial investments you've been thinking about and start that creative project that you love. This is a very powerful principle because when you act despite the fear, you reverse the game on the fear weakness. You paralyze it with your boldness. You take steps toward your goals despite the specter of fear hovering over you. When you do this, you call the bluff on the fear weakness, and you see that, like all bullies, it will retreat once you stand up to it. Many times you may be reluctant to make a change in your life because of fear. You say that I'm going to wait until the right moment, or until conditions are right, or until I have the inspiration to do it. Here's a little secret, Love University listeners. If you wait until conditions are perfectly right, you may never do what you want to do. Fear will always tell you that it's not the right time. A good example of this is the writer that has writer's block. They have to wait for inspiration before they write, and they feel anxiety about writing because they think the writing will not be good enough. As a result, they feel blocked from writing. No matter how hard they try, they can't manufacture words on the page. Now, sometimes block writers receive advice like, wait until the inspiration moves you. But that is false advice, because if you wait for the inspiration to move you, you may never write anything because you're waiting until something happens instead of making something happen. Here's a better advice. Instead of waiting for inspiration to move you, you move the inspiration. Sit down and work, write in this case, to move the inspiration in your favor. The more you work and the more action you take, the more inspiration you will have on your side. When you take action despite the fear, you will bypass the fear of failure or rejection, and you will move beyond it to the achievement of your goal. Start now. Think of the things you want in your life, but are afraid to go for because you fear rejection and failure. Also think of the actions you can take toward their attainment. If you want to buy a house, speak to an agent and study some listings. If you want to get a good education, research schools and requirements. If you want to fall in love, look into dating options such as online dating or social networking. If you want to get your body in shape, join a gym and spend at least 20 minutes there daily as you build up your workout tolerance. If you want to write the great American novel, sit down and write 3 pages of quote-unquote junk daily, whatever comes to your mind. It may actually be quite good, but you will tell yourself that you will write down whatever comes to your mind, whether it is good or bad. By doing this, you will take the paralyzing pressure off of yourself to be perfect, and you will relax and let your creativity flow. Whatever your dream is, decide today to take concrete and practical steps toward it. You will take action despite the fear of failure or rejection. By utilizing action despite the thought, in this case fear, you will be amazed at how much progress you can make in your inner and outer life. When you combine this technique with the Fear to Reality Journal and asking the right questions, you will begin to eliminate the fear weakness from your mind. As a result, you will find that your motivation is strong and your results are undeniable. Now that you have learned techniques for defeating your weaknesses, you have a clear path to transform your desert of weakness into a mountain of invincibility, a holding place for all of your positive thoughts and emotions, joy, courage, resilience, compassion, love, and goodwill. The good news is that you have a positive and healthy side of your mental family, the Invincible Mind family. Now, when they get together, there's Papa Joy on one side of the table, and sitting next to him is Mama Compassion. These light and healing forces in your life are powerful, good, and benevolent. They are positive and healing thought guides. that you can draw from to reach true happiness. Whenever you feel like you're falling into the grips of your self-defeating nature, focus on invincibility thought words to rejuvenate yourself. These are words such as naturalness, spontaneity, receptivity, self-renewal, insight, persistence, self-unity, patience, compassion, and love. These are the beautiful words that will liberate you from the desert of weakness. How do you distinguish between invincible thoughts and self-defeating thoughts? Listen to what the thoughts tell you. If they are positive and healing, they are invincible thoughts. If they are negative and attacking, they are self-defeating thoughts. Imagine a dialogue between the two as they compete to win over the space in your mind. The self-defeating thoughts say things like, I want to keep you desperate, afraid, sad, and disillusioned. If it were up to me, you will feel defeated all the time. I want you to suffer. The invincible thoughts say, I want you to prosper, grow, love, succeed, and help humanity. My desire is that you may become the best person you can possibly be, and that you live with love and true inner power. Another way to look at this is to say that self-defeating thoughts want what is worse for you, while invincible thoughts want what is best for you. When you start to enhance your invincible thoughts, you will also realize that you have to put forth some effort. Invincible thoughts will not start the walk for you, but they will match every step you take with a step of their own toward you. The good news is that one invincible thought, for example, peace, can wipe away 100 self-defeating thoughts, such as fear, anger, and regret. As you wake up from the hypnotic spell forced on you by the self-defeating mind, you will see that your compulsive cravings, the nervous need for approval, excessive acquisition, and overstated ego are part of your self-defeating mind. As these false desires vanish, you will become a more loving and balanced human being. When this happens, you will chuckle in amusement as the childish attempts of fear and worry to bring you down vanish. You will have no more time to fool around with the things that used to bother you. They have no power to disturb the real you. Before long, you will distance yourself from the desert of weakness. You will live from an elevated mind, the mountain of invincibility, a place that is peaceful, confident, powerful, loving, and pure. You will have everything you need. So, Love University listeners, I want you to go out this week and say to yourself that I'm not going to fear anymore. I'm not going to let things keep me down that have kept me down in the past. I'm going to act despite the fear, whether it's asking the person out that I want to get to know, going for a job or career opportunity, making a financial investment, making a career change, a lifestyle change. You will do it despite the fear. You will also write down the things that you're afraid of and see how many of them actually come true the way you feared. Most of the time they don't. Maybe 90% of the time they don't. And you will say to yourself, I will master fear no matter what else happens to me. I will ask the right questions. What do I have to lose? What do I have to fear? And realize that most of the time, there's really nothing that you need to fear because you can master everything that comes your way as long as you have love in your mind and heart. As we've learned at Love University, the idea is to love yourself, others, and higher nature and extend that love outwardly without expectation. You can never lose. You will never fear. If you want to be on the show, if you want to have a show idea or contact us, you can reach us at loveuniversity.love, loveuniversitylove@gmail.com. Call us at 310-226-8090. You can like us on Facebook at Love University Podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Love Letter U Podcast. You can pick up a copy of Invincible You, the book, at Amazon.com and BarnesandNobles.com. And Invincible You is a guidebook. It's a manual for your self-development, for your ability to achieve your highest potential psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually. If you want to subscribe to us, you can do so at Love University at Podbean, Spotify, SoundCloud, and iTunes. So everyone put away your notebooks, your iPads, your iPhones, and we'll see you next time. This is Dr. Alex Avila with Love University.